All right, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. It's your boy Kevin Thornton, and you have been tuning in to the Wellness Architect Show. Today is Monday, July 23rd, 2018, and I have an amazing show for you. The past 3 weeks, that's been Black Girl Magic. You know, I've been doing a lot with black men because, you know, my whole intentions a lot of times is to showcase black men in a different light because society and media has created a narrative showing that black men is not intelligent and all that kind of stuff. So I use my platform to showcase men in a different light, but I also want to showcase black women because black women are doing great things, and this woman today is no difference. Before I introduce you to who she is, I do want to announce that for next year, June 16th through the 22nd, I will be having my first annual Wellness Architect Health and Wellness Cruise. We're going to go to uh, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, and also Grand Turks. So if you are interested, DM me on Facebook or IG, and I will get back with you on that. Please tune in to the show. Please be very correspondent with us. So please text us or call us at 470-251-4647. Once again, 470-251-4647. So my guest today is someone that I met via social media. I saw her, like she did my buddy show, Jeffrey L. Miller, and when I saw her on his show, I had to have her on my show. So I reached out to her, and she was so graciously willing to do my show. So I want to introduce you to everybody to Miss Gigi Graham. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on there. So please tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you get to this point right now.
Okay, I am Gigi Graham. Gigi is my nickname. It's actually Gina. But I'm here because I am a vegan and I am all about two things: Black continuation and health and wellness. And so 2017, I started a group called Black Vegan Social. And the goal was to connect as vegans and to teach a narrative that was very foreign to us. And not only that, it was also to if we can connect as a people through veganism and our melanin, then how many other avenues could we connect in? And so you have the brand Black Vegan Social. We touch on consumption, not just the consumption of food, but what are we consuming in our ears, the things we see spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. We talk about the realness of life as Blacks and empowerment of each other. And, you know, sometimes it starts with food, because remember, a lot of the times in our culture, food was what brought us together, but it was the
Exactly.
very thing that was killing us. And
Exactly.
so now we're actually the author of our own narrative. And
Okay.
so teaching that level of accountability is so important. And so that's who all I am. I'm just a conduit for the ancestors to use to connect their people, our people, you know?
How long you been a vegan?
Great question. I actually started my journey January 1st, 2017.
Okay.
And it hadn't been that long.
Mhm.
I had previously gone through depression,
Mhm.
and I was in depression from about 2015 up until I would say the end of 2016. During that time, I had called upon so many different names that I was domesticated to call upon.
Mhm.
And then I realized for myself, this is my personal journey.
Mhm.
I realized that um, I I had to call upon people. I could call upon people that I knew were here, and that was my ancestors. So I said, "Listen, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. I need help. I need guidance." And excuse me, in the dark place, a lot of times people equate beauty and liberation and rightness to those things that are white. But in my dark place, I was able to see, number one, life happens to everybody. Don't take it personal. And then number two, there is always an opportunity for me, if I avail myself. And so I began to kind of connect, and I asked, literally, I was just like, okay, what do I need to do? I was already slightly conscious when it came to the things that I could ate, but in my spirit, it kind of came to be more disciplined. You have to be more connected on a spiritual level. You have to be more disciplined. And that discipline for me came through the way of veganism. And so January 1st, 2017, I embraced the lifestyle. I did not struggle because it was spiritual for me. It wasn't about health and wellness per se. I saw a lot of death from cancers and diabetes and other illnesses that are typical in the Black community. But for me, I just wanted to be more connected to my ancestors. So yeah.
Okay. So once you became vegan in 2017, how could you tell? Did you tell a difference in your energy level and everything else?
Immediately, and I have to give this disclaimer: the vegan that I am today is a little bit, is not as disciplined as I was when I started, right? But immediately there were a few things I immediately noticed. I was more sensitive and aware. Like I had certain abilities where I could, empathic abilities where I could pick up on stuff, in different energies. Even when I started my group, I could literally be going through the people that were in my group, and my spirit would say, reach out to this person and this is what you say.
Right.
At one particular time, I did it to a young lady, and she just posted a picture of food in the group. And I began to declare, because I know the power of word. Word is life. And I began to proclaim life to her. And I spoke to her and I declared, you are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. At that very second, she sent me an audio back through Messenger and was crying, stating at that very moment she was about to kill herself.
Wow.
And I have so many stories of that, but because I was more on a my diet was more just live electric foods. So I was very aware. I could be walking past something and I could feel depression or suicide on somebody else, and I would have an opportunity to kind of, speak to people. I could be well rested on like 4 hours of sleep, wake up just as much energy. My sex drive did elevate. There were a lot of things that I immediately noticed where I would have been lethargic. I had extreme energy, insight. So yeah, it's a lot that goes into it. Now, there are a few things that we have to kind of keep in mind too. In this community, it's all about profitability as well. So you have different companies that are trying to buy into this trend. Even for me, it's a lifestyle, but you have companies trying to buy in with these trends, and they still inject the foods with the hormones, the preservatives, the certain things, and then they just attach the word vegan to it. But when I was more focused on electric foods, yeah, it was a difference. It was a difference.
So tell people what electric foods are.
Live foods. So we were taught, we were given this narrative that we were like these meat eaters, these carnivores, right? But just based on our teeth, just the natural things about us, naturally, animals in the wild, they eat their flesh raw, right? They have certain things in their intestines. Their intestinal lining is short because it's not meant to process all, like it's meant to process meats, where our intestine is definitely a lot longer because we are natural herbivores. But for me, what I began to see, electric foods are just basically, and I sometimes I veer off. Electric foods are just basically live foods from the ground. So you may think, okay, well, if you pluck them off the ground, that they're not alive. No, they still stay alive. Like
Right.
when an apple and an orange falls from the tree, it's still live.
Right.
It still has the proper nutrients that you need. You don't have to add anything or take anything from it.
Exactly.
It's there. Everything in this earth was already given to us for us to sustain our health, right? But a lot of times we consume what we're taught to consume, and because we're domesticated in that, we think we justify it and say it's right. Oh, it tastes good. It makes us feel good, but it lacks the nutrients that we need on a day-to-day basis, and it keeps us not just on a natural level, but we are spiritual beings in this shell called a flesh.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps us disconnected spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps us, think about it, they inject our foods with so many hormones. We call it niggaitis.
Right.
Those are depressants, that those are chemicals, foreign chemicals that are actually placed in the genetically modified chemicals placed in the foods, placed in the seasonings that taste so good to us,
Right.
that keep us spiritually docile. And for many of us, as we're coming into the knowledge, we're like, hey, wait a minute, it's not making sense. I need something that's more alive, more energized with, truth is from the earth.
Right.
So, and I apologize if you hear anything else in the background.
That's good. So,
Yeah.
what did you do before you became so focused on health and wellness? What did you do before then? And how? What made you? And what made that transition to that?
Indeed, I have 15 years in banking, 10 years as under management retail banking.
Mm-hmm.
And so for my life, I was very on this narrative of what I thought life was. And I was pretty good in my craft. I learned it and tried to become an expertise in it. But for me, it was the defining point was in 2015. I lost my job,
Mm-hmm.
but I had put everything on this job because I had been so invested in being there, and I saw longevity, even though the company didn't see longevity in me.
Right.
They basically, it was mergers and acquisitions. So eventually they got bought out and things like that. So they brought in their new management, but it brought me to this place where I felt forsaken. I felt like it was a desolate place because I had established a name under this job.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only that, I dealt with a lot of, like I talk in my group a lot about mental health, because even though I can tell people, eat your electric foods, right? Eat
Mm-hmm.
these vitamins, take these vitamins and drink your water. But there are so many different things. Like we can't just kind of look at one side.
Mm-hmm.
We are so multifaceted that we have to kind of target every area. And
Right.
even for us in our community, mental health is a huge part
Right.
that goes undiscussed. And the foods play a part because we are eating foods that are making us like depressed.
Right.
And then we get into the emotional part of it. We don't know how to cope. We don't know how to deal with it. We are still dealing with the projections of other people, whether it's abuse, neglect, abandonment, whatever it is, and we're never taught how to handle it.
Right.
So for me, I went into a depression, and I was there. I felt alone. I felt like my voice was shut up and nobody had any type of care. That was the world I created in my own mind. And veganism helped bring me out of that place,
Okay.
because I was able to see life from a different perspective. So again, that's why when I talk about Black Vegan Social, I don't come just about eating foods. I talk to people and I'll tell them, hey, I dealt with depression for 2 years. I contemplated suicide at one point
Mm-hmm.
in my life. I was an abused child. These are the issues that I've dealt with. Let's work through this together. I've had men, women come to me saying, hey, I've been sexually abused. I've never told anyone. What should I do? I'm not a licensed counselor. Let me get that out.
Right.
But I am someone who is definitely real about life and self, and loving self is so important. Like,
Right.
I know this is a show, but I give no F's about what people think about me, you know?
Right.
And that's that there, this, even though we're called, my group is called Black Vegan Social. This is a movement of people coming to self-love, and self-love causes you to be accountable mentally, physically, financially,
Right.
in every area, right? So yeah.
So let's transition into self-love.
Yes.
Why is it so important, and why is it, do you think, we don't invest that much into it?
I think there is a transitioning taking place, right? There's a great awakening that's taking place. I was one who thought self-love equated to where I was financially, what I was able to show people that I had status-wise, right? But then self-love brought me to a place where at one point I was homeless. And continue with that.
Right.
I had to realize that any external forces that determine your love for self, that's not self-love.
Right.
Anything that would cause you to go against self. And like I said earlier, Black continuation is so important to me, because when I look in the mirror, I am so in love with this glorious goddess that I see, that the only thing that I want to do is reflect that. You know, I can't be with anybody that would cause me not to reflect this. And so self-love is so important because it causes you to be accountable to your vision. It'll cause you to pursue your dreams. It will cause you to be real. I am one of the most transparent and vulnerable persons that someone could meet. But before I'm vulnerable and transparent with other people, I'm like that with myself.
Right.
Get it together, Gina.
Right.
You're wrong. No. No, you're wrong. And I'd be like, yeah, but I also, because of self-love, I don't judge myself.
Right.
I acknowledge my errors and my faults, but I also am so in love with myself that it's like, mistakes happen. That's a part of the process. It's necessary. Let's re-strategize.
Right.
Let's refocus. Let's realign. And so when you love self and you focus on self, there are a few things. Self will cause you to reflect. Self-love will cause you to reflect self. Because anything that's fearful, it wants to reflect that which it loves, right? Love for me is, I don't embrace fear concerning my life. Fear will always be present, right? Things like this. I typically, personality wise, I'm this introvert. I like people around, but I don't really like people around, if I can say that. But fear for me, it's like either fear will drag you or you can drag it. And so I always be like, come on, you're coming with me. Yeah. And I'm dragging you because it's necessary. There's a balance. There's dualities in life. We have to have, like, people always try to be lopsided. You have to have a love. My love towards self causes me to hate anything that tries to destroy or that doesn't reflect this level of love of me. Like, if it doesn't respect or honor it, then I dislike it. And we try to, like, even with Western religion, we try to be like, oh, love, 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 love. But if everything has to have a balance, you need a balance of hate. I hate anything that does not honor this glorious melanin that I have. I despise it. I despise it up until death. If I have to lay down my life, so be it. But that's the love that I have for self. And so it matters when it comes to a movement and people wanting to unite. When you love yourself, it will cause you to let go of certain egos and certain things that are typical hindrances when it comes to like a movement. And it causes you to be like, because of self-love, and we see love of self, and I see me and you,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you should see you and me.
Right.
That should cause the movement to, like a movement to take place. But a lot of times we avoid that.
I agree. And to piggyback what you were saying, like I coach, health coach a client, and they are not where they at weight wise, but they're not really doing what they need to do to get better. The first question I always ask them is, when do they stop loving themselves? And when I say that to them, they say, "What you mean? I love myself." I said, "No, you don't. Because if you did, you would do what you need to do to get what you need to go health wise." So we had to figure out what happened and what caused you to stop loving yourself. So then we can get you connected back to the self love and to you. And then once you start loving yourself, then you'll do the things that's necessary to create the healthiest version of you. And once they understand that, it clicks for some. For some, it's still it's like they still want to put the ownership on other people instead of take full responsibility and accountability of who they are and where they are in their lives at this moment. And then, like you said too, when it comes down to self love, my journey is similar to yours. I got laid off, I had a job, I made good money, but I looked at it as if God, the universe, wanted me to more focus on this journey, and I would never did it if I was still making that money doing what I was doing in corporate
Right.
America. So
Right.
um, I didn't. I wasn't making the money that I did back there, but I'm happier. And I
Yeah.
and I think people don't really understand that. Because I think a lot of people equate money with happiness,
Yeah.
but
It's what we're taught to.
we're taught. But I made great money, but I had
Yeah.
anxiety. I was stressed out. I gained all this weight because of the stress of what they put on you to be great in that world. And so once I left that world, well, it forced me out. I lost the weight. I took more care of myself, and
Right.
I became happier. And so I
Right.
think too, when we have self love and you love yourself, and you don't really give a f about what anybody think about you, um, it's funny because a lot of people, we have such a negative spirit. They want to affect how you feel about yourself. And so
Yeah.
when they can't get that effect out of you, then they start calling you names. You
Yeah.
cocky, you arrogant, you all these different things because
Right.
they can't control how you're supposed to feel about them. And I think it's kind of crazy to me. So
Yeah.
so I really like what you were saying with that. What's the narrative are you telling your community on your Black Vegan Social about food, about veganism, that my listeners could might be benefit from?
The first thing that I tell them is that this is your journey and you are the author of your journey. Um, a lot of times we immediately come into a new area of life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we set up this standard of perfection, which is only an illusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
We feel like, oh, we have to do this, dot every I, cross every T, but that's not realistic.
Right.
Life lived is errors would take place. There will may be relapses. You may not meet every standard that you have, but if you take it day by day and you enjoy the process,
Mm-hmm.
always figuring out like anything that you do in life, get to the foundation. Why are you doing it?
Right.
If it's because it's a trend, you're definitely not going to be successful.
Right.
If it's because you want some type of temporal um, result, then 9 times out of 10, it won't last.
Right.
But if you have something that resounds within, that speaks volumes to you, to the point where you're like, hey, I want to change the narrative of this, not just for me, but we have to keep in mind that I never will forget, I saw a meme that it says, one day we will be someone else's ancestors, right?
Hmm.
There is a narrative that we are speaking, and sometimes we're so self-consumed that we fail to realize that we're writing a story for those that follow us,
Right.
from behavioral to mental, like things that, think about it. I can tell you, both of my parents, different behaviors that I have, that I took on, that seem to have, I wasn't even around my father, didn't meet him until becoming an adult. But when I talked to him and I found out some of the things he struggled with, it it baffles me that this had to be in my DNA.
Hmm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
so what narrative are we writing for those to come?
Right.
There is a proverb says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And I live by that, right?
Hmm.
Even me aligning and talking about veganism and setting up this brand and creating it, it's not just about me. I'm trying to change the narrative for my kids so that they can have a song that is different from what my parents received, of high blood pressure, diabetes, even from a wealth perspective, changing it, being accountable. And it's not easy. Listeners, if I can say, it's not easy.
Hmm.
Perfection is an illusion.
Right.
The only thing that you need to focus on is execution.
Exactly.
Execute it. Execute it. Even if you get 1,000 no's, it may sound cliche. Keep going until you create a yes. People will always come with no's, and I've experienced that. I'd be like, dang, sometimes I'm like, well, it's going to happen anyways. I don't care. I'm not even going to put my energy into that, because we go down this spiral, because the first time we try something, we automatically expect the results that we
Hmm.
wanted.
Right.
That's not realistic.
Hmm.
Again, that's that Kim Kardashian illusion.
Right.
It's just, yeah, like it doesn't work like that for everybody. And who wants it to work like that for them? Like,
Right.
try whatever you commit to, just take it one day at a time, whether it's entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
uh, especially if you're a Black listener, it's entrepreneurship. If it's relationships, take it one day at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with the process of rightness, because rightness is just BS.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And and to piggyback off of that, I had met up with a friend of mine from college. He was in town, and he knew that he's on this journey, but he was applying for different jobs, and he had hookups and everything, but the door never opened for those jobs.
Yeah.
So I said, because it wasn't meant for you to have. And he said, but I had created this narrative. This is what I thought I was supposed to be. I said, but the higher power has another outlet for you. I said, do you happen to know what you feel is your purpose? Because a lot of times, if you're not working in your purpose, the doors that you might want for yourself may not open because there's other doors that he may want for you, and you got to figure it out. And so he was like frustrated to a certain extent because, you know, he stopped looking on Facebook for a while because he would see our friends from college
Right.
getting this promotion, or doing this and doing that, and he's still at the same spot of where he was at.
Right.
And I said, well, you can't. You could be happy for him, but not compare where you at as a success or a failure based on what they're doing, because what they're doing is their journey,
Right.
and you are on your own journey. And
Yeah.
so you have to embrace that journey and enjoy it while you go, and not compare
Yeah.
who you are and what you and where you at based on where other people are at.
Right.
Because you're still a success, but you're a success in your own way, in your own right. And so
Yeah.
he felt much better after talking about that. I said, I said, I think we put too much we compare ourselves
Yeah.
too much to other people, and
Yeah.
it's your journey. And so
Right.
So what
And it
is
happens. Like, think
exactly
about it. Like, we will be lying if we're on here and we're like, we don't try, like, compare. Those thoughts rise,
right,
but also when you go back to that self-love, it causes you to be like, you know what, that's not me. I'm not going to be worried about somebody else, because they
right,
have their whole life that they have never lived before, that they're living for the first time.
right,
And that's what I feel like I'm doing. Like, I've never been a 38-year-old vegan.
right,
This is new. Every day is new. I can go in and figure it out, or
right,
I can be comparing myself, which is just a distraction.
right,
You gave a perfect example. I had all of this years of experience in banking because that's all I did.
mm,
And I couldn't find a job to save my life. And everybody was giving me this advisement on what I should do and what was, oh, oh, okay. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Everybody was giving me like this advisement on what I should do. And even though I was trying, it was making me more depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sending me down this rabbit hole, because it's like I'm trying these things and then people assume that I wasn't trying, I
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't putting forth effort.
Exactly.
And then when I kind of took myself and I just was like, live your life. They're living their lives. Let them figure out their lives, and don't compare. My life may not equate. I may not have all of the things that you feel like a person at this age should have,
Right,
but I will have it. And
right,
I don't look at myself and I'm like, oh, by this certain age. Now I can say this.
mm-hmm.
I do want a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
like, but outside of that, like, I don't look at myself and compare myself anymore, because that's a misjustice, injustice to self when
It
you do
is.
that. And
It is
I think we do that level of injustice all the time.
all the time.
For me, I thought it was going to come from a regular 9 to 5, and look, from a vision that I just started by happenstance, that now has become a business concept. But not only that, it's transforming lives for people. So,
Right. Exactly, and like I'm saying with you, because I never thought I would want to work for myself.
right.
Never. I never,
Yeah.
and like to you to a certain extent, I've never thought I would be doing this because I've always been when I was younger, mo real quiet and kind of shy. So for me
Yeah.
to now to be on, doing this radio show and people see me on Facebook Live and YouTube, is like, okay, this is like a complete 160 or 360 of
Yeah.
who I thought or I was or I envisioned I was. And so, and like you said, people might say, well, why don't you just go back to corporate America? I said, but it's not that easy because you try, but it's not, the door's closed. Because I don't really believe, I could try, but I don't think that's not where I'm supposed to go. And
Yeah.
so, like I said, I just stopped talking about it because people,
I
they,
get it all the time of what I should be doing, but I tell people all the time, live your best life. And I'm definitely living mine. I'm in
right,
such a happy, beautiful place, and I'm liberating minds and challenging thoughts, and not just from others, but myself. And I'm growing and I'm developing. There's nothing more beautiful than that.
right.
So,
So what
I'm
what
okay.
is black continuation? What is that?
Yes. It is futuristic, angelic, it's ancestral. It's the most beautiful thing in this world. It is a song unsung, but a song sung amongst multitudes of a tribe, of a people. It's the most majestic thing in life.
Mm-hmm.
Black continuation.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful, it's resilient, is a call came in.
Glitch.
It's it's amazing. It's beautiful. Black continuation is when a heterosexual male and a heterosexual Black female come together and they continue the story that was given to them. They add value to it. And so for me, it's the most of all of the responsibilities that I have and charges that I have, it's the one I hold to the highest honor. Being able to sustain self-love causes me to want to sustain this. Right? It wants to reflect and continue it. Think about it. In the non-Black communities, especially the European, they're so much about self sustainability and in their community that, hey, they acknowledge they want to be able to be empowered because it helps them as a people. They want to be able to, they have a level of self-love, which is understandable. I get it, but I love myself enough that and my people enough that, number one, I don't judge us. I feel like we are currently, as of date, we are a hypersensitive people who have been through 400 years, especially here, of slavery, of opposition and different things. And we're slowly but surely, as a community, as individuals, changing that narrative. Right. And the thing that I want to be able to see is down the line that there are brown and Black people that are still standing. And if we don't take pride in that, we've embraced this narrative that the straight hair and the fair complexions, and I'm not going against anybody that has all of those things, but it doesn't reflect initially the root of who we are as a people. If we don't take pride in being able to embrace the very thing about us that's creative, our creativity. I wear a head wrap because I am a creative artist who loves to adorn herself as my ancestors, right? But also, I feel like it was such a beautiful a song that is on a larger scale, so unsung. We don't embrace that we were kings and queens. And even if it didn't come directly through our own bloodline, because it's some people that didn't come directly through it. I don't know about me, but we can embrace it that it reflected us. Right. Cleopatra, Nefertiti, different kings and queens, they reflected us. And so I want to reflect that glory. And, it matters. It matters for me to be married to a Black king. And I have many non-Blacks that really definitely, love me, but I'm adamant about my journey and the story that I will tell and the song that my kids will sing about me. And so, yeah.
All right. I like that. So when you express that in your group social, what's the response to that?
Oh, I get a lot of stuff. Oh, you're judgmental. I get people who are part of listen, I feel like everybody has their own narrative. You have your own story. Tell it the way that you feel most free to tell it, right? But as for me and my house, you can freely, like I tell people all the time that come in my group and they tell me what they disagree with, I'll tell them you can freely go and start your own group, just like I did one day. Right. And you don't have to participate. This is an option. It's, it's not mandatory. Right. But if we're here, we talk about the heterosexual relationship between the Black man and Black woman. Now, does that mean my personal views or what I experienced? Listen, I didn't start this group for myself. My ancestors gave me very specific instructions, even with the name. And I stick to that. It's not based on my perspective. It's based on the instructions that I was given, and I'm accountable to that. So yeah, I get it all the time. But, I get non-Blacks who are like, you're racist. why can't we be here? I'm like, okay, I don't project my energy to stuff that I like. I don't have to answer to people. But if you want to be here and you want to be a part, you want to learn and you want to connect, these are the things that we support. You're gonna always see the glorious image of a Black king, never in a place that's feminized. I would never, even on social media, never portray Black kings feminized. Um, Never portraying our Black goddesses as angry or loud, but we are who we are, and we will be who will be, and that's how I approach everything.
Okay. So I saw one of your posts, and you made a statement about how we could wear the turbans, the dashikis, and everything, but you trying to question why you wearing it. Are you wearing it because it's the latest trend, or are you trying to truly elevate self? Can you expound on that for me?
I think we have embraced so many cliches in our community that from being woke to conscious, the word consciousness, we those are just ads for some people. Consciousness for me is a constant level of like understanding, growing, and learning, becoming more aware. Especially, we were all domesticated to live our lives a certain way, and we were told what was right, and we were raised from school on up to becoming adults. Even from like mass media, it's already kind of directed on how we should think and how we should perceive things in life. So I that particular post was just kind of like a challenge. Like, don't don't let your dashikis or your ankh or your head wraps determine your consciousness or how connected you are to ancestors who are readily available and waiting for their people to be connected to them. And you know, I do a lot of challenges. I even challenge men, and then I get men that tell me I hate men. I challenge women, and I get women that tell me I hate women. But I feel like, you know, a lot of the times things come to my spirit as I feel, and I talk about it. But we are more than we have to be defined more than just picking up a book and getting on YouTube and watching all these videos and being able to quote, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes to a place of consciousness that requires accountability and discipline
Right.
and responsibility. And I think that's the part we shrug away from. We want to be seen as a people who are woke, and I wear this and you are a coon, 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 coon,
Right.
coon. But really woke people wouldn't even speak that because they know that their words are life.
Can you say that one more time, please?
A really woke person would be so conscious of the very words that they speak because they know that they are from a God source, right? They are from a God source, and they don't want to misproject anything because they know that their words can create. Somebody that's really not conscious will just say whatever the heck they want. So it's just a challenge. Really, why are we using these cliches to keep us distracted from really focusing on self because we're spending so much time like looking at everybody else?
Right. And what's funny is like I was telling one of my buddies 'cause he is quick to say that word coon, house nigga. What's the other one they use a lot? But Uncle Tom and I said those statements that you're saying to these people or about these people is disrespectful. So
Yeah,
who gives you the right to disrespect your fellow brother or sister because their thought pattern is different than yours? So
yeah,
who gives you that right? Because if they was to say something
yeah,
about you that you felt disrespected, you'd be upset. And
yeah,
he couldn't respond back to me. I said, so like you said, I said words is powerful. So then, you know,
yeah,
you telling people it's pretty much saying if you don't think or act like me, then you are this.
yeah. Right.
And I, and I,
Right.
and that's the
We do
limitation.
that to each other all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do that all the time. And then we come into a level of understanding, right? A new resolve personally, and then we have no grace for anyone else.
right,
We were once domesticated under whatever mindset we were, and we are now woke, and we have no grace for anybody else.
no,
It's like we create this unconscious hell for people, but I'm compassionate about my people. I understand we're all at different levels and different facets. We That's what makes us unique. We all may not agree, but there still has to be a resolve that whatever my mission is, I'm going to do it.
right,
I don't get online and blast people that eat meat or eat certain things because it's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to challenge people who are around me, expose them to a different narrative, and let
right,
them make the choice.
right.
But sometimes we want to force our perspective upon people,
Hmm.
and we're doing them a misjustice or injustice because we're not giving them an opportunity to choose and learn. We want to shove it down their throats, and who likes that? So I always come from a perspective where I get it and I don't understand a lot, and I'm every day I'm learning. That's the beautiful thing about life. You never stop learning. You never
Right.
stop figuring different things out. The universe is so amazing. I remember this quote by Felicia Rashad, and she said, "The universe bears no ill towards you, and you bear no ill towards it."
Hmm.
There's nothing personal that the universe or God has against any of us.
Right.
But we as people have to recognize that there's power not in the narrative of a one savior, but in us uniting as a people.
Hmm.
And the beauty of that is that everybody would not be the same. That's what makes us powerful.
Right.
And so being able to accept first, when you accept yourself,
Hmm.
it's easy for you to accept other people. But a lot of people aren't walking around. They really have a self hate. When you look at it, it's like your dad left you and you still are dealing with that
Hmm.
because somebody called you stupid,
Right.
and you really are struggling with whether or not you are intelligent because you may not have your degree. Like, if you get to the root,
Right.
a lot of it is people hate themselves.
Right.
It's the bottom line.
And what I realized in coaching, whether in health coaching or life coaching, um, the root of the cause stem from childhood. A lot of these people,
Yeah,
adults, are still struggling with things that happened to them in childhood.
yeah,
Like you said, name calling,
yeah,
or the fact that the father wasn't there or wasn't present, or the mother wasn't present. You know, molestation. It's always something that they're struggling with that they not and they have not dealt with. So they
yeah,
lash they lash their anger or that self hate on everybody else because they don't like themselves at the current moment. And so, you know,
yeah,
and so the question is,
yeah.
you know, what you do, what I do is we're trying to promote self love so you can love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you
Right.
expect anybody else to love you?
I'm sorry, my phone is about to die.
Ah,
I guess it's one second. I gotta um one moment.
okay,
Don't don't leave me. I'm here.
okay.
There we go. I gotta get my charger. It's my phone is just losing battery
Okay.
really. Yeah.
But yeah,
But I'll
so
go get it in a second.
we got
But yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
we gotta do the self love. So because if you don't love yourself, how can you attract the man of your dreams, and how can you expect him to love you if you don't know how to love yourself?
Yeah.
You know, and
And I'm learning that. I'm learning that.
you know,
I'm learning that.
and you know, and
I'm learning that.
we all gotta do the work. You know, and figure out. You know, it's like men. We are not the most emotional creatures. So it's things that have happened to
Yeah.
us that prevents us from being the greatness that who we are, especially in relationships. And so if we don't
Yeah.
do the work, how can we attract the, our queen that we want that's waiting for us to be great for them
Yeah.
and them to be great for us? And so I just think that, but I think we just so fearful of doing the work because we don't want to tap into those painful emotions. And but we gotta go through that. Gotta go through that pain to get to the happiness. And until you do that, you'll never
Yeah.
be completely happy. So that's what
But think about it. People want, yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna say people judge and they don't, a lot of times who really wants to be vulnerable, right? When you feel like you're gonna be judged in your vulnerability. So people like we wear this mask, we wear this face and are dying on the inside. But I say it's okay. Listen, you've been through stuff, life has happened. You may not have seen healthy relationships. I haven't,
Mhm.
but it doesn't diminish my hope to have it personally for myself
Right.
so that my kids can see something different. And it does, like you said, it takes a lot of work.
Mhm.
It doesn't take just work from a person, like to come in and sometimes we're like, okay, if you do this, this is supposed to happen. If you do that, that is supposed to happen. But the reality is that there is no one book that can talk about all relationships and it's the ultimate guideline,
Right.
right? It's not. People can give their story of how they did it and sell you whatever. And it may work for certain people, but it's not going to
Won't
work
work
for
for
the
everybody.
masses.
Yep.
We are the author of our own fate, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes in that position, we want things to immediately happen.
Right.
Instagram, immediately.
Mhm.
But it takes time. It takes that self love recognizes, Gina, you hated yourself earlier in your life, you wanted to kill yourself.
Mhm.
You got to heal from that.
Right.
Gina, you have been abused. You dealt with these things. So it causes you to be defensive.
Right.
Acknowledge that. It's going to take time for you to learn something different. People were domesticated in years of abuse and trauma, and our trauma is generational.
Mhm.
We've gone through so much as a people. Your parents projected their trauma on you,
Mhm.
and their parents projected their trauma on them, and you got some of your grandparents' trauma. It's generational trauma,
Mhm.
and we're never taught how to deal with it. So we have these hypersensitive individuals that are just simply unlearned, and we don't want to appear unlearned because in our minds it's a form of weakness. To me, identifying that you aren't where you need to be is the most beautiful place because it provides you an opportunity for you to pursue the knowledge that you need to. I'm quick to say I don't know, but
Right.
immediately when I identify there's something I don't know, I love it because it's like it's something that I can
Right.
learn.
Exactly.
And we don't find beauty in that. We want to assume that we want others to assume that we have it all together. I'm quick to tell people, they say, what do you do or how do I don't know how things work out the way that they work out for me, but it's so beautiful. And in the process, I'm learning about self. Times I, may immediately recognize I'm getting a little discouraged. I quickly recognize the triggers and I speak to my spirit and I declare something different. And then not only do I speak from a spiritual perspective, but I began to do different behaviors. Like we can't speak something different and then still do the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Discipline is not an easy song to sing.
No.
It's just not. But LeBron is not LeBron because LeBron is taking vacations. LeBron is LeBron because he has no off seasons.
No.
Discipline. And
It,
so for us to better ourselves and to change that narrative, it takes us taking on that responsibility and being disciplined through the process.
right. So I know you said your phone was you need your charger. So go ahead and get your charger right quick.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
while you do that, I'll go talk about the cruise and we'll come right back to you.
Okay. Perfect.
So so while she's getting her charger, I'm gonna talk to you about the cruise and also the 7 day detox. So for our cruise, it's gonna be once again it's gonna be June 16th through the 22nd of 2018, the first annual Wellness Architect Health and Wellness Cruise. Wellness is the mind, body, and spirit, and relaxation is part of wellness. And I think a lot of times we on this grind of daily work, and we don't know how to relax and enjoy ourselves. And so a cruise would be a great way to relax, get away, get your thoughts together, enjoy yourself, party some. We're gonna have somebody do Zumba while we're there. We're gonna do yoga and meditation. We're gonna have some kind of conversations about these type of things, nutrition, spiritual awakening, all that kind of stuff, so we can become not just relax, but also have fun, but also be awakened. So once you get back, you be your best version of yourselves and can take on the rest of the year in an amazing way. Also, for those as a health coach, I do a 7 day detox. So I'm going to have a special for the month of August that I'll be posting on social media soon. But with for the 7 day detox, um, if you purchase the detox in the month of June, and you complete the detox, you have to send me uh, uh, beginning and ending weights, how much you weighed before and how much you weigh after. Or if you are someone who had high blood pressure and your blood pressure was lowered after the detox, send me that. Or if you just want to do a video of um, your experience, send me that. And those who complete the detox and during the month of June will get a free 3 day, 2 night from me. So the three day, 2 night is just for the stay. You will still have to get your plane ticket to wherever you want to go, or if you're gonna drive there, however you're gonna do it. But the free 3 days, the 3 day, 2 night will come from me. So that's be my gift to you for supporting the 7 day detox. So she's back. So let's get back to it. So one of the things that I saw on your page, which I thought was great, was that you have a competition. You have a challenge for your followers as well. And your
Yes.
challenge for the month of August is you challenge everybody to do no processed foods
No processed
for
foods.
the whole month of August.
Yeah.
Explain why.
I definitely cannot say that there was a specific reason why. I literally woke up and I was like, why don't we not, like, I really can't say, I think I heard this voice that said, or historically this happens in the
Mm-hmm.
month of August. I literally posted it on my Facebook.
Okay.
And from that point, I was noticing it was getting a nice response. So I posted it on the Black Vegan Social on Instagram. And it got a huge response of people who were just like, yeah, we're down for it. But one thing that I do know, when I think about it, like I said a little bit earlier, the foods that we eat, this pharmaceutical system, like there's a system that's alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about like conspiracy theory. It's just about power and money, right? You don't have to stay focused on that, but I'll always identify the position of those that are considered enemy. Anything that it profits off of my death or the slow process of my death,
Mm-hmm.
anything that profits off of that is my enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. When trends happen and people are starting to wake up, well, for business perspective, you still need to be profitable as a corporation, and they still have goals. So
Right.
hey, let's now inject that into processed foods.
Right.
even if it's actually more vegan to it, just to keep us again docile and disconnected. And so I say this, let's try something different. Is it easy? No, the challenge wasn't meant to be easy.
Right.
It was meant to challenge.
Exactly.
It was a challenge. So with that being said, um, again, this is one of those day by day things. I have been traveling for the past few months. During that time, I put on about 15 pounds. I have to eat out because normally home I cook and I do certain things and it's totally different. I normally take time also to fast, but because I have been going around to different states, cities, I just hadn't had the opportunity to do so. And so I recognized my diet had changed. I would have like headaches, different things that we issues. I'm still a vegan, but I'm eating like certain processed foods and I'm waking up and I'm having the same effects that I remember when I was eating meat, dairy, and eggs. And so this challenge is, I just want the individual that commits to it to be able to something that I would say, hey, I do feel different. Question mark. Why? Why am I feeling different? And then doing necessary research to figure out what's in the foods that we're really consuming. Are we slowly uh, killing ourselves?
Right.
And once you are accountable to yourself, self-preservation will cause you to be like, I don't want that stuff anymore. I don't need it in my system or my body. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I told my buddy yesterday, I said that usually what I try to do is like the first 10 days of the month, I try to cleanse myself. So I try to eat raw fruits and vegetables
Right.
for 10 days. And I told him I do that because I want to allow my body and my organs to heal.
Yeah.
Because when we eating all the meat that we eat and all the processed foods that we eat, we're not giving our body a chance to heal. And then we go,
Yeah.
and then we have this concept that we post, especially those who work out. I need to eat 5 times a day, so you don't give your body a chance to actually heal and recover. So the cleanse is twofold. It allows your body to heal and
Yeah.
get the fruits and vegetables that's needed and the minerals
Yeah.
that's needed, but also you end up losing weight at the same time. But
Yeah.
if you
But
don't,
you
if you
added benefit.
right, that's the ultimate benefit. But the main benefit is the actual allowing your body to heal. And I also think people really realize that we're doing our body such a disservice by eating as much as we do eat. And so, and with the processed foods, like I told him, majority of us are chronic constipated because of all the foods that
Like that.
because of all the food that we eat. 'Cause I asked him, I said, "Well, how many times you use the bathroom?" He said, "Once a day." I said, "Well, how many times do you eat?" He said, "4 times." So I said, "You should be going to the bathroom 4 times." And he was like, "Really?" He said, "I just thought that's my body how it's wired." I said, "No, because when you was a kid, when you was a baby, when you ate you had your formula or whatever you ate, pretty much right after you ate it, you went to the bathroom because your body was clean. Now we've eaten all
Yeah.
this bad food, our system is not as clean as it used to be, and so now, like you said, we might go once a day, once every other day, and we just think it's okay. So we got to really, like you said, change the narrative of how we see food, how we see the health of our bodies, and and ask ourselves what's the intention of why we're going to do it, and because
Yeah.
everything should be intentional. So
Yeah.
so what what do you say to the people who are looking to make that transition? Since you made one recently, how would you guide them into that transition?
Just take it again one day at a time. Commit to what you can. Sometimes, like I said, we get so overwhelmed with now I need to go clean out my refrigerator and throw away everything. And now, I got to go buy all of this. And, we jack ourselves up financially because we want to go and buy all. Commit to what you want to commit to. Find the beauty in just learning. I think it's so beautiful to learn new things, getting on YouTube, utilizing Google, social media, and finding out different things, picking recipes that you may not have tried.
Right.
Maybe weaning yourself. People can't just do it cold turkey, but looking at yourself and saying, how can I be accountable when it comes to, you know, the things that I consume, and write it down. Be transparent with yourself, right? If you know you have a problem, don't put yourself in those places that will cause you to struggle. And if you do make, you know, like if you make a commitment and you may not meet that commitment that day, it's okay to start over the next day and not be so hard on yourself. And just recognizing this process. It's just like with anything that you're addicted to, and we have to admit, our foods we're addicted to. You know, like it's our comfort. Mm-hmm. It takes time to kind of get yourself to not be dependent. And like I said before, even me, I would fast often. And because I've been traveling, I'm using that as an excuse. But when I think about it, it's just like you still have to be accountable to your body. We are gods to millions of organisms, right, that are in here, that different cells that at any given point, if anything goes wrong, they have an army called the immune system that goes and fights on your behalf. Right. For your continuation. And I always say we want God to be good to us, but we are not a good God to the very things that abide within. Right. And so when you look at it from that perspective, when you call upon God, right, your God, whoever, when you call upon it, you want it to respond. You want to feel like your voice is heard. Hear the voice that's talking to us. It tells us all the time. Don't put that in me. Right. don't do that. We don't like that. And then when things like different sicknesses, from cancers to blood pressure issues, diabetes, fibroids, erectile dysfunction, like when we have those issues, then we kind of understand. But a lot of times the body is already telling us, you're stressing out, you need to go exercise, keep me mobile, keep the blood circulating, blood is not circulating. And we feel it, but we just aren't disciplined enough to do it. And sometimes you gotta be disciplined. And then finding people that are on the same journey as you is always important with anything that you need to. Because if you have people that have an adverse perspective, then it's going to cause you to kind of go back into whatever perspective is surrounding you. But if you connect, like with Black Vegan Social or with other groups, specifically if you're thinking about more of a plant-based diet, then you'll see people who have some of the same struggles, the questions, the ideas that you have. And it kind of makes the journey a lot easier, because it's not, you don't feel alone, you know?
Yeah. So I know you also said part of Black Vegan Social is also to connect with the whole spiritual journey as well.
Yeah.
And that the stuff that people understand that what we put in our ears, whether it's the music or what we watch on TV, plays a lot of what we manifest into our lives. Can you expound? Mm-hmm. Can you talk more in detail about that?
Yeah, definitely. We, a lot of times, I don't think we really recognize that the things that we visually consume from our senses, it dictates who we are as a person. Behaviorally, we begin to mimic a lot of the things that we may see or hear. On a spiritual level, it keeps us scattered. We are not really able to vibrate at a higher level because of a lot of things that are keeping us kind of distracted. Keep in mind, all of the things that we are enjoying in this society, it's really not natural, right? Mm-hmm. The earth automatically has everything that we need to keep us whole. But you know, we as man, we have created different things that we have defined what makes us feel whole. And so from music, it can be relatable that, hey, I've gone through these certain things, but if you notice, you'll listen to certain music and certain words, and then maybe give it a few weeks, you're saying some of the same things. Your perspective, it molds your perspective. Think about it. That's why even on a larger scale, there's no true story that is ever told in our society of a Black king that's really ruling, right? I'm not talking about fictional characters, but when they're telling these stories, they whitewash it because they don't want us to see that. They know that if we see that, that will begin to give us a different perspective, a different vision. And so when we become accountable to that, is it easy? No. We're in a society where everything is on YouTube, everything is on Facebook, everything is on Instagram. And that's how society is. People pick up their phones. They don't really even enjoy life. I used to be like that, you know, like if it really wasn't for business, I really wouldn't. Like I travel and a lot of times I don't take pictures of what I'm doing and why, because I'm enjoying the moments. I'm learning. I'm taking in the energy of the earth. And when we embrace all of those things, audibly, visually, we are allowing somebody else to write a story, or they already have written a story for us, and we're just being it's just accessible to us for us to just embrace it as our truth. And it becomes, if you think about it, it formed our mind. Like our mind is really not. It's not really our own, because a lot of it is based on, we could see a video and it immediately triggers or dictates who we are, what we say, or how we say it. We mimic it to the T. And that's giving your power to someone else. So I always say, just be aware of what you're consuming. Just be aware. Being aware is the first step. And once you are aware, that's the consciousness. Consciousness is not a state of people being able to say this person is conscious. I could care less. It's consciousness is about self. What am I aware of concerning myself? And when people come into self-consciousness and true consciousness, which is self, they'll begin to see that maybe I'm taking in stuff that I shouldn't. And maybe I'm dealing with some of the things that I am dealing with because I was taking in this narrative that is not my own. So, yeah.
Right. So you said energy and you said frequency and vibrations. That's all my language, but for those who may not understand it, can you please let them know what that is?
So energy, we are nothing but balls of energy in my eyes. So we're just balls of energy and life. And sometimes I've come in contact with people who are energy snatchers. I swear that their hope is just be to try to take your energy. But when you think about it, your cells are constantly moving. Your organisms are just constantly, you're just energy. And when we recognize that, we want to be more protective of it.
Right.
When I talk about vibrations, because we are energy and spiritual beings, a lot of times we get so stuck in this natural realm that we forget that even in the natural, there's a spiritual side that we have to balance it with, right?
Right.
It causes you to go into a place of stillness. I can give this as an example for people. Because I vibration, we call it like maturity. It's not really that. It's just a level of it's the difference between something that's from a micro perspective and something from a macro perspective. When you vibrate higher and you're on a different frequency, you see things from an aerial view versus just being in the situation.
Right.
And it causes you to respond, react differently. When you vibrate on a different level, it's not the same level or typical energy that people are accustomed to. Where someone may, for instance, I used to be emotionally dependent upon uh, certain people in my life to give me, like I wanted their approval.
Mm-hmm.
When I began to love self, it caused me to transcend the approval of people
Right.
to where I approved myself. And so when those same people may have said something that was contrary to my truth, instead of embracing it like I did before, I didn't even take offense. I identified from a spiritual perspective that this person is wounded
Mm-hmm.
and they're simply projecting their own self hate. I would not take that money, but then I was able to deliver something on a verbal level for them that now they see that it's different. So but when you vibrate, you transcend on a different level, and you're not reactive. People are so combative. That's why I said we in our community, we're so hypersensitive. I get tired of, like, when I go in there, everybody's like, not everybody, so that's, I apologize for saying that, but a lot of times I see people so combative in our community, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not da, 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 da. Those are people who are vibrating on a different level, because if you were on a more spiritual, mature level, you wouldn't say certain things, you wouldn't do certain things, you wouldn't respond to certain things. Like, I don't even respond to certain people.
Right.
I don't give energy to that. I don't, somebody can say something to me and I'm just like, oh,
Right.
it's not useful. It's not needful. It doesn't add value to me projecting energy into that.
Right.
Me trying to explain something to somebody who I already know you're on it. You're not on my level.
Right.
It's not beneficial. I'm not going to try to exert energy into that. My energy is exerted into something else. So it's just basically a level of awareness, and.
Right. And because and I begin to realize as your frequency, as you get higher in the frequency, you tend to attract people more like you. And what I tell people a lot of times too, you can't lower your frequency or your vibration to be with other people because you either challenge them to elevate their frequency or you can't be
Yeah,
bothered with them. And
yeah,
because you lowering yourself, you lowering your light to be accepted by other people. And
yeah.
if they really want to be with you, then they'll elevate themselves to be where you're at.
Right, right. That is so true in so many ways.
And so, and I agree with you. When when things happen that I can't control, I don't give my energy to it. So, cause why am I stressing? Why am I worrying about something that I can't control? Why am I stressing about what that person said? I can't do anything about it. So, you
I
allow
used
this
to stress so
person,
much about
right?
that.
You allow this person to take your happiness or your
Yeah,
energy away because he or she says something about you that may or may not even be true.
right.
And then why do we care?
It is true. Who cares?
Right, right, exactly, exactly. Because like you said, at the end of the day, they're they're projecting this on us because they're on self hate, and
Yeah,
so you know they feel our energy. They know we're happy. We know they know we're on a different level, and so they projecting their self hate on us to knock us down, and you can't give them the power to do so. So
yeah.
you know, so what is one of the things? Okay, I know you said you had some challenges for the men, and you had a challenge for the women. What was the challenge you had for the men? I would love to hear it.
I challenge them, challenge men in things that I say, because I believe that even in everything experience, there has to be a level of accountability, as leaders, that our men are so godly and so amazing. But I think the victimized, and let me tread lightly,
Mm-hmm.
it's the victimized tone that I hear. And um, when a man is capable of constantly deflecting on what a woman should do instead of just looking at self and identifying, this is what I can do. I think it's so easy for somebody to try to tell someone else what to do, right?
Right.
But when you have a commitment to self where you're saying, this is what I can do, and then not just saying it, I'm gonna liberate my people by telling them the truth because I'm reading all of these books about Kemet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But recognizing that some of the issues with this, even with the feministic movement, is because not because of women just being angry. We have embraced definitely as the whole a narrative that is not our own.
Right.
But also there has to be accountability when it comes to behaviorally. How have men on an individual level been towards women? And a lot of men have mishandled. And then once you come to this slow understanding of what is right and wrong in your eyes, it's not cool to be like, women should be, you know? I really believe as men, there has to be a level of accountability, period, as a
Right.
man. And that accountability challenges you to be, regardless of where we are collectively as a people, I want to, regardless of what we are going to be at a different place and we're going to put forth the work. And this is the guide. It's not the blaming, not the you are. I just feel like I want to see more Black men just being accountable as a whole collectively,
Mm-hmm.
and and looking out on an individual level on what you can do, and for the same as women, like we're embracing this narrative of this feministic narrative that is not our story to sing. Like this is not our story. They just kind of add us in there to to make it relevant, right?
Right.
But identify what is our story and identify, yeah, that same movement painted Black women as angry, aggressive, and irate. That same movement. And it causes us to have a divide in our homes. It causes us to have a divide in our communities. Women, we gotta be accountable to ourselves and embracing that. Many of us have not been taught how to love men. We are hurt. We are actually hyper masculine, if you ask me, at times.
Yes.
And being able to kind of take it down and look at self and say, yeah, I've been hurt. Not to sound hurt, but hurt happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors were raped, murdered, men, women, kids, right? Hurt happens.
Right.
But what are we willing to do? And it comes back to that self-love and that discipline. Discipline causes you to be accountable. It causes you to look at self. And when you look at self, self tells you the truth about self. And when that truth is spoken, being mature enough to hear it and being responsible enough to take in, to take the necessary steps. And that's what I feel collectively as a people I would like to see. Let me put this into perspective, people. When I became a vegan, before that I had black hair. I was going for this European appeal because that was what was taught to me. I identified certain things as beauty. The straighter the hair, my hair, the more blue in the wind, the more I could relate to this standard or imagery of beauty, the better I felt about self, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I came to true knowledge and love of self, I reflected self. What self for me is I wear my natural hair. I may have on nails today, but if I don't want to have one, I'm okay with it. I walk out the door with no makeup. I have on lashes today, but if I don't want it, I'm not dependent upon it. And the society taught us to be dependent upon it, that we can't present ourselves without it. And once I came into a place of learning about self, then it caused me to look at myself and realize, number one, I hated self. That journey to self-love, you guys, the journey to self-love was not easy. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what people say, but it was deliberate. Every day I got in the mirror and I said, Gina, you are beautiful.
Right.
You reflect this. That is great. You are mighty. You are powerful. Your skin, I was taught that having dark skin, I was raised to believe in having dark skin was in a sense sinful, because white represent purity. So the lighter you are, the more beautiful you were. I hated my skin. Now I love it. The sun loves me. I reflect the sun, the glories. But every day I had to be deliberate. I didn't allow myself to watch the TV that I know perpetuated the story that white women or these fair complexion, what you had to be mixed with something that represented beauty. I detached myself from that narrative, and I spent time with self, and I got still and I listened to self, and self began to validate me. And, you know, during that process, I began to see and understand and figure out things. And I think that's what we as a community, we have to get. We got to detach, because there's a narrative that's being shoved down our throats, whether we want to believe it or not. It really is. Mm-hmm. And we've peacefully received it. And I just don't receive it.
Right. I love it. So, one of the things I said to my clients when they talk about relationships, whether it's a male talking about a woman or a female talking about a dude, I would always say, don't tell me what they didn't do. Tell me what you didn't do.
Yeah.
Because you can't control what they didn't do, or all that. You could control what you brought to the table,
Yeah.
or what you didn't bring to the table. Or I said, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, whether it's a man attracting a female or a woman attracting a male, you attract who you are at this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're not liking what you're attracting, you have to look at yourself to say, what is it in my thoughts or my actions that I'm attracting this type of person to me? And so, like you say, it goes back to what you're saying, taking full accountability and looking in the mirror to say, what is it? And what do I need to do differently, or I need to think differently?
That's funny you said. I just had a conversation with my friend, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out certain things about myself. And I think it's the most beautiful place that I've ever been in life, where I am so real with myself. Mm-hmm. I'm a single woman at 38. I have no kids. And, you know, I aspire for those things.
Right.
And I recently had to look at myself and say, the common denominator in all of this
is yes.
And so I was still, and I didn't hear. I'm like, okay, let's be real. Let's talk about this. But I didn't hear anything, and so I went to my friend, and I know my friend knows me very well, and I asked him what's the feedback that he thought that it was, why I'm still single. And you know, he gave me his feedback, and but what I told myself too, you know, it's sometimes I think we're so hard on ourselves. It just may not be my season for it. Like, it's okay. You know, I'm such a cool person, but I get, excuse my French, shitty people sometimes. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I'm reflecting that. It's just that shitty people like us stuff too. Mm-hmm. So, it happens. It goes with the territory. You're not always going to get good. You're not going to always be bad. You're going to get a mixture of all of it, but you having to be disciplined, and then it's all a journey. You're maturing. So I'm impressed with myself. I can say this, that I still can be humorous in all of it, and I'm still hopeful. And during the process, during the while, like I'm taking time to focus on me, and I think that's what we have to unapologetically focus on ourselves. And when we get there, I think that's the most beautiful thing. And who knows, even all of this self-awareness, it may not be in the stars for me to be with anybody until like 30 years from now. I don't know. But I think during the journey, during this process, how will I be? And will I deny myself the opportunity of growth because I didn't get what I wanted at a certain time? And I won't do that. I forsake myself like that.
I like that. So, so what's next for you in this journey and with the Black Vegan Social?
Definitely, on a different platform. Right now, we are going to be transitioning to our website, and just so that our experience does have to be monitored as much as it is on Facebook, and I'm grateful for the platform, but it is very restrictive at times. But definitely, I am so excited about us all learning new things about life and figuring it out collectively as a people, and encouraging each other to a higher place in different levels. And I'm grateful that I'm amongst a community of individuals who are trying to be the best person that they could possibly be. And I love it. I love the experience. And so look forward to us being on a larger platform as far as notoriety wise. A lot of people will begin to hear a lot more about us and what we're doing, the impact that we're having. We have chapters. If people are actually interested, we have chapters in different cities and states where they meet up periodically, and they have chapter leaders. Shout out to all of my amazing chapter leaders and moderators and different people who just assist with like
what chapters do you? What other cities are you?
We have 37 chapters, so should I go through all of them? Oh, no. But we have them, and if anybody's interested in becoming a leader, they can just definitely hit me up to start a chapter in their area and get started. We have them in Atlanta, Houston, a few in different places in Georgia, maybe 5 in Florida. Wow. We have them in Antigua, Jamaica, and they meet up and talk about different, LA, talk about different things and just connect on a different level. And I really want Black Vegan Social to be the Walmart of Black veganism, where people can come in, and whether or not it's dating, if you're a mother for the first time and you want to have a vegan pregnancy, or you're raising kids into veganism, transition them over, you have access to information from selling products that are more holistic and vegan based, vegan friendly, to talking about mental health and different affiliations and partnerships. So yeah, it's going to be a good year for, we started my first chapter in Jacksonville, Florida. I started May 3rd. And then from there, my next one I started was in South Florida. And it kind of trickled into different places. Houston was after that. And it's a movement. And I have to say this, for me personally, I don't mind. I really want to start kind of connecting with a lot more people, and letting people take the pressure, having this conversation so people can take the pressure off of themselves to live their lives and be okay with that. And figure it out and recognize that no manual has been given to them. Just you do your best and execute the vision. Have a vision first of all. You gotta have something. Put
Right.
it down and execute it, and that's your energy should be put into that executing your vision every day. So yeah.
So, what would you say to the listeners or someone who comes to you and say, "I want to be a vegan, but it's so expensive to eat healthy"? What would be your response?
It's not, it's expensive to eat healthy the way that you possibly want to eat, meaning you want to eat the same way that you've been eating. So you having to go buy all of these different products that remind you of something else, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes coming to a place where you just enjoy the originality of something. So when I first became a vegan, I was impressed. Like I would try different fruits and vegetables raw because I normally didn't eat raw stuff. And was just like, oh, okay, this tastes good. I kind of reconstructed I would say my palette
Hmm.
to its original purpose, like or the way it was supposed to be, to where I just ate foods and enjoyed them for the way they tasted. So I would say it's not expensive. And then what's really expensive, like you can most definitely invest a little bit of money into your foods, and then you deal with strokes and different things. Or you can count the cost. Like, are you worth a few extra dollars for
Right.
you to eat better? Are you worth that? If you have value and you feel like yes, then hey, you gotta make some adjustments. You gotta, it teaches veganism. From For me, it taught me about moderation.
Hmm.
Now I have to get back into that, but yeah, up front it taught me about moderation because trying to get things that were more organically grown, it was a little bit, a little bit more pricey.
Right.
But can you grow some vegetables? Can you support local farmers? Have you identified the local farmers in your area? So yes, anything challenging, everything in life can be perceived as a challenge. It's just what is your actual perspective? What do you perceive it as? If you see it as challenging, I don't care if the foods were on sale, buy one get one free,
Right.
you're still gonna find issues with it. So
That's that's true. So, well, what if they say because it's so funny? That's one of the main excuses of why they don't want to do it or why they don't want to eat healthy. And the other excuse, or I'll say the narrative that's been projected out there is, where do you find your protein at? So, can you speak on that?
yeah, I think that's the most funniest thing. So the same animals that we say we get protein from are herbivores,
Right.
and they eat from the earth, and
Right.
that's where they get the protein. If you actually did your research, which I had to, and I was so shocked that a lot of the live electric foods have more protein than the meats that
Right.
we have been sold are full of protein. But yeah, you can get green beans has tons of protein.
Hmm.
Kale greens has tons of protein, and it keeps us alive. And if you don't believe it, hey, I'm all here. I've been a vegan for this whole time, and I have no problems.
Right. Exactly. And then, well, I try to tell people too. I said we have been creating this narrative about we need protein, and we do to a certain extent. But what I have noticed is that we overeat on protein, but we're deficient on fiber. So we don't eat.
Yeah,
We eat a ton of meats to get the protein, but we don't do enough fruits and vegetables to get the fiber that we need. And so we had a
yeah,
disconnect. So I think we're kind of like out of balance with that. So what's your thoughts on that?
balance. You struck the nail on the head. Balance is all about balance.
Okay. So I want to give you some time. So whatever is on your spirit, It don't gotta be about veganism. It can be about anything. Whatever's on your spirit at this moment. Speak to the audience.
Well, if I could use the time,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely speak to the spirits of those that reflect the glorious melanin that I reflect. And I would say that you are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are mighty. You are powerful. You are great. And you are strong. And there is nothing that you cannot do. You can, you shall, and you will. Commit to your dream and your vision. Stay focused, stay persistent, and don't give up on yourself. Love yourself past anything that anybody has ever said, any narrative. It's all false. You are the author of your own fate. And it may sound cliche, but when you really think about it, you can create a new story for yourself, and not just for yourself, those that come behind you. So stand strong in that and trust that which is within. But outside of that, try to find different ways to embrace more disciplined life. Challenge yourself, even if it's just for a week or a few days. Challenge yourself, and in that challenge, I declare, I believe, and I know for a fact you will grow.
Cool. So if my listeners or wanted to reach out to you to know to connect with you or you be part of the Black Vegan Social, how can they find you?
Most definitely, you can find us on Instagram at Black Vegan Social, and you can find us on Facebook at Black Vegan Social. We have a group of almost 60,000 members, and we have such great fun in there. And it's all about us and our community. And if you're in there and you're dealing with whatever, you don't have to come in the group and feel like you have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. Um, you can see us on Twitter. Sometimes I put little quotes out there. And if personally, like if you ever want to talk to me, I'm always open because I love opportunities to learn more. And I feel like conversations with others always put me in a place where I'm learning more and I'm gaining more insight. So if you ever need to reach me personally, you can definitely email me at Gina, Gina Graham at blackvegansocial.com.
Cool. So I want to first say thank you so much for being such a gracious guest, and
Thank
you
you.
came with great energy, a wealth of knowledge. I believe you have blessed everyone who listened today.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
keep doing what you're doing. Um, we're gonna definitely stay connected because I would definitely love to see you on the cruise ship for next year. Maybe that could be something that you and your community could do as something um, to to connect with each other face to face.
Yes.
So that's something I would love for that to happen because it'd be if the empowerment of wealth, mind, body, and spirit. And I just want you to continue doing great work.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for listening to the What is Architect Show with your boy Kevin Thornton. Be great, be you, and we're out. Peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have fun.